Ebele, her family can take me further than yours ever could.
Chai, what is this?
The groom humiliated and abandoned her at the altar on their wedding day for a richer woman. Then an uninvited guest stepped in and revealed a secret that shocked everyone. They say the worst day of your life can happen in front of 500 people. Ebele Okonkwo's happened in a white dress. She stood beneath a ceiling covered with crystal lights, holding the hand of the man she had loved for 4 years. The officiator waited beside them. The musicians held their bows above their violins. 500 guests watched from rows of gold-covered chairs. Then Tunde Adeyemi leaned close to Ebele's ear. His lips barely moved. Ebele, I'm sorry, he whispered. I can't do this. Adaora's family can take me further than yours ever will. For a moment, Ebele thought she had misunderstood him. Then Tunde released her hand. He stepped away from the altar, crossed the polished marble floor, and stopped beside a young woman dressed in white and gold. The woman's mother smiled at Ebele with the calm satisfaction of someone who had already won. A murmur swept through the hall. Then the phones came up, one after another. Hundreds of small screens turned toward Ebele, ready to preserve the worst moment of her life. Nobody looked at her mother. Nobody looked at her younger brother, whose face had gone pale. Nobody noticed Ebele's fingers closing around the old brass key hanging from her neck. And nobody noticed the elderly man sitting in the last row. He wore a plain grey agbada and held a small leather box on his lap. He had not been invited by the bride. He had not been invited by the groom. But when Tunde abandoned Ebele in front of the entire hall, the old man slowly rose to his feet. He straightened his agbada, picked up his walking stick, and began walking toward her. What he carried inside that leather box would not merely rescue Ebele from humiliation. It would reveal who owned the event center, who controlled the bank where Tunde worked, and why Ebele's father had spent the final years of his life pretending to be a poor and defeated man. Before that day, Ebele believed her father had left her nothing but debts and an old key. She was about to discover that the key opened an empire. 3 weeks earlier, Ebele sat on the floor of her small flat in Surulere, surrounded by ribbons, tiny boxes, and strings of fairy lights. She was 29 years old and worked as an event decorator. Every week, she transformed empty halls into beautiful places where other women celebrated engagements, weddings, and anniversaries. She knew how to make artificial flowers look expensive. She knew how to hide cracked walls behind flowing fabric. She knew how to turn an ordinary room into something magical. But for her own wedding, there was no large decorating team. There was only Ebele, sitting cross-legged on the floor, tying ribbons around 200 small wedding favors because she could not afford to pay anyone else. Her mother, Mama Nkechi, sat on the couch and watched her. Ebele. Ebele continued working. Ebele, look at me. Ebele raised her head. A strip of blue ribbon hung between her lips. Her mother's face was serious. You have been with this Tunde for 4 years. Ebele removed the ribbon from her mouth. Yes, Mama. You have been engaged for 2. Yes. And in those 2 years, how many times has his mother entered this house? Ebele lowered her eyes to the unfinished favor in her hands. Mama, you know they are busy people. Busy people still eat. Tunde works long hours at the bank. His mother owns several businesses. Has she ever sat in this room? No. Has she ever shared food with us? No. Has she ever called me to discuss the wedding? Ebele sighed. Mama, she sent people. She sent an assistant with a fabric sample. That is how some wealthy families do things. Mama Nkechi leaned forward. No, that is how people behave when they do not want to touch what they consider beneath them. Mama, I am not trying to spoil your happiness. It sounds like you are. I am trying to protect it. Her mother's voice softened. Your father used to say something. When a family hides you, they are not always protecting you. Sometimes, they are keeping their options open. At the mention of her father, Ebele's hand moved to the chain around her neck. A dull brass key rested against her chest. The key was old and slightly bent near the tip. It had no markings except for a small circle carved into its head. Her father had given it to her 10 years earlier, on the night he died. He had been thin, weak, and struggling to breathe. Ebele had sat beside him while rain struck the windows of their old family house in Enugu. He pressed the key into her palm and closed her fingers around it. "Keep it," he whispered. "What does it open, Papa?" He tried to smile. "One day, someone will come." Who? But he was too weak to answer. Nobody came. The key opened no door in their home. It did not fit any cupboard, suitcase, or box her father had owned. After his death, creditors came instead. They took his old vehicle. They took furniture from the house. They took everything that could be sold. Ebele's family moved into a smaller place and learned to survive without asking too many questions. People said Chief Emeka Obiora Okonkwo had once been a successful trader abroad. Then something went wrong. His businesses failed. He returned to Nigeria sick, ashamed, and owing money. That was the story everyone knew. It was the story Ebele believed. Her phone rang on the floor beside her. Tunde. Her mood changed immediately. She smiled and answered. "Hello, husband." His familiar laugh came through the phone, but it sounded forced. "How is my wife to be?" "Tired, surrounded by ribbons, possibly losing my mind." "You are still making the favors yourself?" "Yes. Why?" There was a short silence. "My colleagues will be there, Ebele. The managing director may attend. Some important clients are coming." "I know. So please make sure everything looks—" He paused. "Looks what?" "Expensive." The word landed badly. "Not beautiful, not joyful, expensive." Ebele looked around the small room, at the favors she had spent hours making. "They will look beautiful," she said. "That is not exactly the same thing. Tunde, is something wrong?" "No. You have been distant. I'm busy, and your mother still refuses to speak to mine." "She has a lot happening." "That is always your answer." Another silence followed. Then Tunde said, "Ebele, whatever happens, you know I loved you." Her fingers stopped moving. "Loved? What?" "You said loved." "I said love." "No. You said loved. You are tired. That is all." "Tunde, I have to go." "I'll call you later." The call ended. Ebele stared at the dark screen. Behind her, a door opened. Her younger brother, Chidi, stepped out of the bedroom. He was 24, tall, and normally full of restless energy. But over the past month, he had changed. He slept badly, jumped whenever his phone rang, and sometimes disappeared for hours without explanation. As if summoned by Ebele's thoughts, his phone lit up in his hand. He looked at the name on the screen and quickly rejected the call. "Who keeps calling you?" Ebele asked. "Nobody." People called nobody seem very determined these days. Chidi smiled, but the smile did not reach his eyes. "Sister, focus on your wedding." "I am focused. I am also looking at my brother. I told you I would handle my part of the wedding money. You said your business partner helped." "He did." "What business partner?" "Ebele." "What business?" "I handled it." His voice was sharper than he intended. Mama Nkechi looked between them. Chidi immediately softened. He crouched beside Ebele and kissed the top of her head. "You deserve one perfect day," he said, "even if it costs me." Ebele looked at him. "What is that supposed to mean?" "Nothing, Chidi." He stood and walked toward the door. "I have somewhere to be." She should have followed him. She should have demanded the truth. She would later wish she had. That same evening, across the city in Ikoyi, Tunde sat at the far end of a long dining table in his mother's mansion. Mama Adeyemi ate slowly, cutting small pieces of meat without looking at him. "Tunde," she said, "Senator Okafor has agreed." Tunde's shoulders tightened. "Agreed to what?" "Do not pretend to be stupid. It does not suit you." "Mama, Adaora is willing to consider you. Her father believes you have potential. If you become part of that family, doors will open that no promotion at Meridian Trust Bank could ever open." "My wedding is in 3 weeks." "I know. 500 invitations have gone out." "I know. Ebele has already paid deposits. His mother finally looked at him. You say her name as if it should matter to me. She has done nothing to you. She was born into the wrong family. Sometimes that is enough. Tunde pushed his chair back slightly. I won't humiliate her. Mama Adeyemi placed her knife beside her plate. You applied to become regional director. Tunde said nothing. You are not the only person who applied. I know. The bank's board will want someone with influence, someone connected, someone who can bring powerful clients. I know. Adaora's father can make one telephone call. Tunde looked down at the table. His mother continued. The Okafor family believes you and Ebele ended your relationship weeks ago. Tunde's head snapped up. You told them that? I told them what was necessary. Adaora thinks the wedding has been cancelled. She thinks tomorrow's gathering is a formal conclusion of an unfortunate misunderstanding, followed by a private announcement between both families. Tunde stared at her. What exactly are you planning? You will end your arrangement with Ebele before vows are exchanged. Then, after the guests understand why, Senator Okafor will publicly welcome you into his family. You invited them to Ebele's wedding. I invited them to witness the truth. What truth? That poverty travels with problems. Tunde rose. No. His mother did not move. Sit down. No, Mama. If you walk out of this house and marry that girl, you walk away from everything I have built for you. Tunde's breathing grew heavier. You would disown me. I would allow you to enjoy the life you have chosen. She lifted her glass. A decorator's husband, living in a rented flat, begging for promotions from men who will never remember your name. Tunde stood there for a long time. Then, slowly, he sat down. Mama Adeyemi smiled. The wedding will continue, she said, just not in the way Ebele expects. On the morning of the wedding, Lagos woke beneath a golden sky. Inside the bridal suite of the Grandeur Event Center in Victoria Island, Ebele stood before a tall mirror. The dress was rented. Her shoes belonged to her best friend, Amaka. The earrings were borrowed from an aunt. But the woman in the mirror belonged entirely to herself. The dress hugged her waist before falling in clean white folds around her feet. Her makeup was soft. Her hair was arranged beneath a simple veil. For the first time in her life, Ebele allowed herself to feel beautiful without apologizing. Amaka stood behind her, blinking quickly to stop herself from crying. Ah, Ebele, if your father could see you. Ebele touched the brass key. My father used to say I had my mother's face and his stubbornness. Today you have both. A stylist approached. Madam, we should remove the key now. It does not match the dress. Ebele's fingers closed around it. It stays, but it is old. It stays. The firmness in her voice ended the discussion. Amaka moved to the window overlooking the hall below. Guests were arriving in waves. Ebele's relatives wore modest blue aso ebi. Tunde's family wore heavy gold lace, bright enough to announce wealth from across the room. Then Amaka frowned. Ebele, what? Who are the people wearing green? Ebele joined her. Near the front of the hall sat almost 30 strangers, dressed in deep emerald. They were positioned on the groom's side. In their center sat a young woman, wearing white and gold. Not a wedding gown, but close enough to make Ebele's stomach tighten. The woman was beautiful, composed and surrounded by people who looked important. She is dressed like a bride, Amaka whispered. Maybe it is just the style. White and gold? Amaka, please. Ebele stepped away from the window. She did not want suspicion entering her mind on the morning she was supposed to begin her marriage. At the back entrance of the hall, an elderly man arrived alone. He wore a plain grey agbada and walked with the help of a polished wooden stick. The usher checked his list. Your name, sir? Alhaji Aminu Danladi. The usher searched. I'm sorry, sir. I cannot find your name. That is because nobody invited me. The usher blinked. Then I'm afraid. Danladi met his eyes. There was no threat in the old man's expression, only authority. I have waited 10 years to attend this wedding, he said. I will not be turned away 10 minutes before it begins. The usher hesitated. Danladi signed the guest book, carried his leather box into the hall, and sat in the last row. He placed both hands over the box. Then he waited. The ceremony began shortly after noon. Live violins filled the hall as Ebele appeared at the top of the aisle. People rose. Mama Nkechi cried openly. Chidi stood beside her, but he looked over his shoulder each time the entrance doors moved. Ebele walked toward Tunde. With every step, she remembered something they had shared. The evening they met at a friend's birthday dinner. The first time he tasted her cooking and pretended it was not too salty. The long calls, the promises, the night he asked her to marry him beside the lagoon. When she reached the altar, Tunde took her hand. His palm was wet. She squeezed it. He did not squeeze back. Tunde, she whispered through her smile. Breathe. He stared ahead. It is just us, she said. His eyes shifted toward his mother, then toward the emerald section. Finally, he looked at Ebele. Do you trust me? With my life. Pain moved across his face. Then he looked away. The officiator began. For several minutes, the ceremony continued normally. Prayers were offered. Families were acknowledged. Words were spoken about loyalty, patience, and love. Then the officiator raised his voice. If anyone present knows of any lawful reason why these two should not be joined, let that person speak now. There is a reason. The violin stopped. Mama Adeyemi rose from the front row. She already held a microphone. Ebele noticed that detail immediately. The microphone had been prepared. This was not an interruption. It was a performance. Mama Adeyemi turned toward the guests. Forgive me, she said, sounding not sorry at all. But marriage joins families, not merely two individuals. Before my son enters a lifelong union, certain truths must be addressed. Tunde remained silent. Ebele looked at him. What is happening? He did not answer. Mama Adeyemi continued. I asked the bride's family one question. Her eyes moved through the crowd and stopped on Chidi. Where did the bride's brother obtain the money he contributed to this wedding? The color left Chidi's face. Mama Nkechi turned toward him. Chidi, he stood slowly. Sister, I can explain. A whisper spread through the hall. Mama Adeyemi lifted a folder. 2 million naira borrowed through an illegal private lender. False employment information. Missed payments. Threats delivered to my son's workplace last week. Ebele stared at Chidi. Is that true? His eyes filled with tears. I wanted to help. Is it true? Yes. Mama Nkechi covered her mouth. Chidi stepped into the aisle. Tunde promised the wedding costs would be shared. When some of his payments stopped coming, the vendors were calling Ebele every day. She was already using all her savings. Ebele looked at Tunde. You knew? Tunde's jaw tightened. Chidi continued. I borrowed the money because I did not want her to lose the hall. I thought I could repay it after my contract started. What contract? Ebele asked. Chidi looked down. It fell through. Mama Adeyemi spread her hands. You see? Debt. Lies. Dangerous men. Is this the family my son should marry into? They are my debts, Chidi said. Not my sister's. Mama Adeyemi smiled. In families like yours, one person's trouble quickly becomes everyone's trouble. Ebele's eyes remained on Tunde. Say something. He looked at her. Please, she whispered. For 1 second, shame appeared on his face. Then ambition buried it. Tunde leaned close to her ear. I'm sorry, he said. I can't do this. Adaora's family can take me further than yours ever will. Ebele stopped breathing. Tunde released her hand. He walked away from the altar, across the marble floor, past his smiling mother, toward the young woman dressed in white and gold. Adaora rose uncertainly when he approached. Her face did not show victory. It showed confusion. Tunde, she whispered, you said this relationship had already ended. He reached for her hand. It has now. Adaora looked past him at Ebele. At the rented white dress, at the mother crying in the second row, at the brother standing in disgrace. This is how you ended it, she asked. Tunde's mother stepped between them. Adaora, today is about new beginnings. Senator Okafor rose from the emerald section, but his expression was no longer pleased. This was not what we were told, he said quietly. Mama Adeyemi's smile tightened. It is unfortunate, but necessary. The phones came up, hundreds of them. Some guests whispered, Some stared. Others leaned into the aisle to capture a clearer recording of the abandoned bride. Ebele stood alone beneath the crystal lights. She heard people saying her name. She heard the soft crying of her mother. She heard the camera shutters, but everything felt far away. Her hand rose to the old brass key. For 10 years, she had worn it because her father told her someone would come. No one had. Not when creditors emptied their home. Not when she dropped out of university for a year to support her family. Not when she built her decorating business from borrowed tables and second-hand fabric. Not when she lay awake wondering why her father had died with secrets in his eyes. Nobody had come. Then, from the back of the hall, came a single sound. Tap, tap, tap. The slow strike of a walking stick against marble. The whispers weakened. Heads turned. Alhaji Danladi walked down the aisle. He did not hurry. He carried the leather box beneath one arm and used the walking stick with the other. Mama Adeyemi raised her microphone. Excuse me, sir, this is a private family matter. Danladi continued walking. Who invited you? She demanded. He did not look at her. He stopped before Ebele. Up close, she saw that he was perhaps 70 years old. His hair was silver, his shoulders still straight, and his eyes filled with something nobody else in the hall had offered her. Respect. He bowed his head. Forgive me, my daughter. Ebele's lips trembled. Do I know you? No, but I knew your father. The hall became silent. My father? My name is Aminu Danladi. For more than 30 years, I was your father's business partner, closest friend, and legal trustee. Tunde laughed behind him. Trustee of what? Danladi turned slowly. Excuse me? With respect, Baba, her father was a failed trader. Everyone knows that. He died owing money. Danladi studied Tunde. What is your name? Tunde straightened. Tunde Adeyemi. Adeyemi. Danladi repeated. You work at Meridian Trust Bank. Tunde's expression changed. How do you know that? 14th floor. Corporate Accounts Division. You applied for the position of Regional Director 6 weeks ago. Tunde stared at him. Mama Adeyemi lowered the microphone slightly. Danladi continued. Meridian Trust Bank is controlled by Meridian Holdings. 62% of Meridian Holdings is owned by Obiora International. People in the hall began searching the name on their phones. And Obiora International, Danladi said, was founded 22 years ago by Chief Emeka Obiora Okonkwo. Ebele's knees weakened. Amaka hurried forward and held her arm. Danladi looked at Ebele. Your father. A wave of murmurs moved through the hall. Tunde shook his head. That is impossible. No, Danladi said. It was hidden. He placed the leather box on a nearby table. Your father did not fail abroad, Ebele. He built a shipping company that expanded into property, finance, and logistics. By the time you were a child, his companies held assets in Lagos, Abuja, London, and Dubai. Ebele stared at him. Then why did we have nothing? Because powerful men wanted what he built. Danladi's voice softened. Some were business rivals. Others shared his blood. When your father became ill, several relatives began preparing to challenge his ownership and seize control after his death. He knew that if the world learned his only daughter was the heir, you would become their easiest target. Mama Nkechi slowly rose. You knew Emeka. Danladi looked at her. I did. Then where were you when we were losing everything? Pain entered the old man's face. Fighting to protect what he left. Mama Nkechi's eyes filled. We sold our furniture. I know. My daughter left school. I know. We believed he died ashamed. I know, madam. And I have carried the weight of that silence every day. He turned back to Ebele. Your father placed his holdings in a protected trust. For 10 years, lawyers challenged it in 3 countries. False partners appeared. Relatives produced forged documents. Accounts were frozen. Properties were investigated. Why not tell me? Ebele asked. Because knowing would have placed you in danger, while the estate remained disputed. Your father also feared something else. What? That wealth would decide your life, before you had the chance to discover who truly loved you. Danladi looked toward Tunde. His final instruction was clear. I was not to reveal your inheritance until the estate was secure, and you had chosen a husband without either of you knowing what waited in the trust. Tunde swallowed. Danladi continued. The final court challenge ended 2 months ago. I intended to speak to you after today's vows. Ebele looked toward Tunde. After the vows. Yes. Your father wanted your husband to choose you as Ebele, the hard-working daughter of a man the world considered poor. Danladi's eyes hardened. But your father included one additional instruction. If any man publicly rejected or disgraced you because he believed you had no wealth, I was to reveal everything before that man could return with a lie. Tunde's face lost its color. Mama Adeyemi stepped forward. This is a very dramatic story, but where is the proof? Danladi looked at her for the first time. In my hand, he opened the leather box. Inside lay several documents, a sealed envelope, and a dark wooden case. Danladi lifted the top document. A golden seal covered its lower edge. Cut into the center of the seal was the shape of a small keyhole. Danladi faced Ebele. Your father said you would still be wearing it. Ebele looked down at the brass key. He said you were stubborn enough never to remove it. A broken laugh escaped her through her tears. That sounds like him. She lifted the chain over her head. The hall remained silent as she approached the document. Her hand shook so badly that she missed the keyhole the first time. Amaka steadied her wrist. Ebele inserted the key. It fit. She turned it. A soft click passed through the silence. The golden seal opened. Ebele covered her mouth. For 10 years, she had carried a key she believed opened nothing. Danladi unfolded the document. This is the original trust declaration, signed by Chief Emeka Obiora Okonkwo, and witnessed in London. He read aloud. Upon the resolution of all legal claims against the Obiora Family Trust, controlling ownership of Obiora International, and all attached holdings, shall pass to my daughter, Ebele Adaeze Okonkwo. He lowered the page. The transfer became legally available 2 months ago. Today, by opening this seal, you have accepted it. Ebele could barely speak. What exactly does that mean? It means you control Obiora International. A collective gasp moved through the hall. Danladi continued. The company owns commercial properties in Lagos, Abuja, London, and Dubai. It holds controlling interests in logistics, shipping, and financial institutions. He turned toward Tunde, including Meridian Trust Bank. Tunde stepped backward. Danladi pointed his walking stick toward the marble floor. And through one of its property companies, it owns this event center. He faced Ebele again. You are standing on your own floor, my daughter. Nobody moved. Nobody whispered. The 500 phones were still raised, but now they were recording something entirely different. Ebele looked at Tunde. He stood near Adaora, but she had moved away from him. His mother's face had turned gray beneath her makeup. Mama Adeyemi recovered first. She approached Ebele with a careful smile. My daughter, this is truly a day of miracles. Ebele said nothing. Mama Adeyemi continued. You must understand that every mother tests the woman who wishes to marry her son. Everything that happened today was painful, yes, but perhaps necessary. Now we all know the truth. Ebele looked at her. What truth? That you come from greatness. 10 minutes ago, I came from debt, criminals, and confusion. Mama Adeyemi's smile trembled. We were given incomplete information. No, you were given information that you believed made me poor. Ebele's voice remained calm. That was enough for you to humiliate my mother, expose my brother, and replace me before 500 people. My intention was to protect my son. You were not protecting him from me. You were protecting him from an ordinary life. Mama Adeyemi opened her mouth. Ebele raised one hand. I am the same woman I was before Alhaji Danladi opened that box. The same rented dress, the same borrowed shoes, the same family. She looked directly into Mama Adeyemi's eyes. Only the money changed. The woman had no answer. Tunde stepped forward. Ebele. She turned toward him. His eyes were wet. For one dangerous moment, she saw the man she had loved. The man who used to wait outside her events late at night, so she would not travel home alone. The man who once gave Chidi money for school fees. The man who promised that no family pressure would ever come between them. Please, he said. I panicked. You planned this. My mother planned it. And you obeyed. You don't understand the pressure. You asked me whether I trusted you. Tunde looked down. I was afraid. So was I. Ebele, I love you. She closed her eyes briefly, then opened them. No, you loved the version of me that made you feel generous. That is not true. You loved being the successful banker who chose the struggling decorator. It made you feel important. Tunde shook his head. We can fix this. The vows were never completed. Nothing has been signed. Ebele almost smiled. You are right. Hope entered his face. Nothing has been signed, she continued. That is the one kindness you gave me today. His hope disappeared. You said Adaora's family could take you further than mine. Ebele, you were right. She touched the brass key. My family will take me very far. Then she looked him directly in the eyes. You are simply not coming. Behind Tunde, Adaora stepped forward. Everyone turned toward her. She faced Ebele. I owe you an apology. Mama Adeyemi stiffened. Adaora, this is not necessary. Yes, it is. Adaora ignored her. I was told your relationship had ended weeks ago. My family was told today's ceremony would be formally cancelled because of financial fraud involving your family. We were invited for a private engagement announcement afterward. She looked around the hall. I did not know they planned to humiliate you. Ebele studied her face. She believed her. Adaora turned to Tunde. And you allowed me to walk into another woman's wedding, dressed like this. Adaora, I can explain. No. She removed the bracelet Tunde's mother had given her that morning and placed it on a table. I do not want a man who can stand beside one woman for 4 years, then abandon her because he sees a more profitable family. Senator Okafor approached his daughter. He looked at Mama Adeyemi. Our discussion is over. The emerald-clad guests began leaving their seats. Tunde stood between two women, who no longer wanted him. Before anyone could speak again, the double doors at the back of the hall opened. 4 men entered. They wore black shirts and moved with the confidence of people accustomed to causing fear. Chidi froze. The lead man spotted him. Wedding is over, Abi. Chidi stepped into the aisle. Oga Femi, please. Not here. Femi smiled. You stopped answering your phone. I told you I would pay. You told me Friday, then Monday. Today is Saturday. He looked around at the decorations. At least our money produced a fine wedding. Mama Nkechi grabbed Chidi's arm. What money? Chidi gently removed her hand. It is my problem, Mama. Femi held up his phone. 2 million principal. Fees and interest make it 3 million. You said 2.4. That was before you disappeared. Chidi walked toward him. Let us go outside. Ebele stepped down from the platform. No. Chidi turned. Sister, stay out of this. You borrowed the money for my wedding. I borrowed it. I will handle it. With what? He said nothing. Femi's smile faded. Madam Bride, this is between us and your brother. Ebele walked until she stood in front of him. What is the full legal amount he owes? Femi hesitated. I told you, 3 million. I asked for the legal amount. Danladi approached them. I believe that means the original principal, the written interest, and all charges permitted under the agreement. Femi looked at the old man. And you are the person advising Madam Ebele not to pay a single naira until your company's lending license and records have been examined. Femi's confidence weakened. Danladi held out his hand. Show me the agreement. Femi did not move. Danladi continued. This building has 48 security cameras. Your arrival, statements, and attempt to collect a disputed debt during a private ceremony have been recorded. Femi looked around. Uniformed security officers had appeared at the exits. Danladi nodded toward Ebele. The woman you are addressing owns the security company. Femi looked at Ebele differently. She did not smile. Did my brother receive 2 million naira from you? She asked. Yes. Then the principal will be repaid today. Danladi glanced at her. Are you certain? Yes, he borrowed it for me. Chidi shook his head. No, sister. Ebele turned toward him. You should never have done it. I know. You lied to me. I know. You placed yourself in danger. His eyes filled. I only wanted you to have one perfect day. Ebele's expression softened. You foolish boy. Femi cleared his throat. What about the interest? Danladi took the agreement from him and examined it. Your stated interest violates three separate lending regulations. Femi looked away. Danladi returned the paper. You will receive the principal today. In exchange, you will provide a signed statement that the debt is settled. If you refuse, our legal department will review every loan your company has issued. Femi considered his options, then nodded. Principal is fine. Danladi made one call. Less than a minute later, Femi's phone buzzed. He checked the screen twice. The transfer has entered. Write the statement, Danladi said. Femi did. When it was finished, he handed it to Chidi. Then he looked at Ebele. No disrespect intended, madam. Disrespect was intended, she replied. You simply did not know who would be standing here. Femi lowered his head. Understood. He and the other men left. The moment the doors closed, Chidi broke. He covered his face and began to sob. Ebele wrapped her arms around him. I am sorry, he cried. The vendors were calling you. Tunde stopped sending money. I thought I could fix it before you knew. You could have told me. You would have cancelled the wedding. Yes, you loved him. I loved you too. Chidi looked at her. You were ready to let those men take you outside because of me. You are my sister. Ebele held his face between her hands. Listen to me. You do not prove your love by destroying yourself in secret. He nodded through his tears. You will never carry something like this alone again. I promise. We will discuss the rest of your foolishness at home. A weak laugh escaped him. Yes, sister. Ebele embraced him again. Then she looked around the hall. 500 guests remained seated. The band stood uncertainly near the stage. Waiters waited beside trays of food. The wedding cake stood beneath an arch of white roses, untouched. Ebele looked at her mother. Mama Nkechi's face was wet with tears, but she was smiling. Then Ebele looked at Danladi. Did my father really choose this day? He hoped it would be a happy one. It still can be. She accepted the microphone from the officiator. The hall grew quiet. The kitchen prepared food for 500 people, she said. The band has been paid. The decorations are already standing. A few guests laughed nervously. So please do not leave. She looked at the abandoned altar. There will be no wedding today. Then she looked at the brass key in her palm. But there will be a celebration. Her voice trembled, but did not break. For 10 years, I believed my father left this world ashamed and defeated. Today I learned that he spent his final strength protecting his family. She looked at Danladi. Today, my father came back to me. Mama Nkechi began clapping. Amaka joined her. Then Chidi. Within seconds, the entire hall rose. Applause filled the room. The band began playing. The waiters moved. Guests who had raised their phones to record Ebele's humiliation now recorded her dancing with her mother, her brother, and the old man who had carried her father's final truth across 10 silent years. Tunde remained near the front for several minutes. Nobody spoke to him. Nobody needed to. Eventually, he walked out beside his mother. No music followed them. No cameras turned. 6 weeks later, an independent ethics review began at Meridian Trust Bank. Investigators discovered that Tunde had provided confidential information about Chidi's death to his mother, who then contacted the lender and arranged for the collection threats to be delivered at Tunde's workplace. They also found that Tunde had hidden a personal connection to Senator Okafor while seeking a promotion that would place him over accounts connected to the senator's companies. His application for regional director was rejected. Several months later, Tunde resigned. Ebele never interfered in the investigation. She did not need to. His choices had already written the result. Before moving from the Surulere flat, Ebele returned to the small living room where she had once sat making wedding favors by hand. Most of the furniture had been packed. The walls looked bare. Mama Nkechi and Chidi had gone ahead to the new house, but Ebele remained behind for a few quiet minutes. She stood near the place where her father's old chair used to be. Danladi had given her a letter found among the trust documents. She opened it again. My dearest Ebele, if you are reading this, then the truth has finally reached you. Forgive me for the years of silence. I did not hide my wealth because I doubted you. I hid you because I knew the world. There are people who will call greed love when they believe you are rich. There are people who will call love foolishness when they believe you are poor. I wanted you to know the difference before my name became a crown on your head. Money can buy a larger house, but it cannot tell you who should enter it. It can place people at your table, but it cannot tell you who came hungry for food and who came hungry for you. Keep the key. It never opened the estate. You did. Your father. Ebele pressed the letter against her chest. For years, she had believed the key was all her father left her. Now she understood. The key had never been a promise of money. It was a promise that truth would eventually find her. She placed the chain around her neck again. Then she switched off the light and stepped out of the flat. Her worth had never changed inside that wedding hall. She had been the same woman before the leather box was opened, and after the empire was revealed. The only thing that changed was what everyone else could see. And sometimes, the people who abandon you at your lowest do not destroy your future. They remove themselves from it before the doors finally open.